I am not a big fan of Polyomino games, but if you are, I highly recommend you check this game out. Planet Unknown is the best Polyomino game that I have ever played. Asterix. These are the other Polyomino games that I owned and played. Patchwork, Isle of Cats, Baron Park, Silver and Gold, and My City. In my opinion, Planet Unknown is better than these games. Also, please note that many other reviewers include these games into Polyomino category. A Feast for Odin, Tapestry, King Domino, and Azul. I also owned and played all of those games, but I do not include them into the Polyomino category. And here is the asterisk. Blocos. Yes, this is a Polyomino game, but I also treat it separately. It's a separate category in its own. And by the way, I love this game, but I don't use it in this comparison. So, in my opinion, Planet Unknown is better than these Polyomino games. So, what is Polyomino anyways? Word Polyomino was invented in 1953, and it means multiple equal size squares connected along the edge. Depending on how many of those squares are, polyominoes can be named by different names. For example, this one has 4 squares, so it would be called tetromino. My favorite one is nonomino, which gives me laughs every time I read it. So you could reasonably assume that omino means a square, but this would be incorrect. Polyomino is a smart play on the domino word, which is a name for the very popular dominoes game, which was invented in Italy, and we have the first record of this name in 1771. Often D stands for 2, so you would think D is 2 and polyomino is many. But this word has nothing to do with 2 or with squares. It was invented in Italy, and many believe that it is based on the domino mask, which was very popular during Italian carnivals. So somehow inventors of this game decided that dominoes look similar to this mask, and here we are. Domino comes from this mask. It has nothing to do with 2 squares. Welcome to Board Game Detectives. My name is Serge, and today we will talk about Planet Unknown. Even though I'm not the target audience, as I'm not a big fan of Polyomino games, I have to admit, they did an incredible job with Planet Unknown. It does get the gem rating from me, and in today's video I will explain you what I like in this game. But before that, let's take a look at the BGG stats. Planet Unknown was designed by 2 designers, Ryan Lambert, here we are, and the second one is Adam Regberg, sorry for butchering the name. Planet Unknown is their most successful design up to date. The game was released in 2022. It has rating of 7.9 and overall rank of 199 and family rank of 24. It can be played by 1 to 6 players and it's best at 4 as community believes. Playing time 60 to 80 minutes, but it can take much longer. The entry barrier is very low, as young as 10-year-olds can play it, and the weight is 2.2, which makes it a very good family game. The overall ratings are very favorable. About 5,000 people rated it at 8 or higher. In Planet Unknown, you will be terraforming unknown planets, which means that you will be making them livable. Each player has their own planet to work with. Throughout the game, they will cover it with different polyomino tiles, and by the end of the game, they want to achieve as much coverage as possible, because for every column and every row that is completely filled in and does not have a meteorite, which we'll talk about later, they can score the victory points that we can see marked here. So for every column, 1 through 3 points, and for each row also 1 to 3 points. And this is one of my negatives for Planet Unknown. It feels more like a puzzle than in a game. There is very limited interaction. and all players will be focused on their own planets trying to figure out how to solve this puzzle. And this is personal preference. I like more interaction around the table. But if this is one of the days where you don't want to talk too much with other people and interact, this would be a great escape. You just do your own thing and enjoy the results of your work. And enjoy you will. First off, the production quality is very high. I really like the design and all the components. Secondly, the centerpiece of all this game, this lazy CYAN that sits in the middle of the table, and every next turn someone will be the commander, and they can pick one of the 6 depots that they will pick one tile from. So they can rotate this lazy CYAN, which is a very enjoyable process, and they say, okay, I want this depot, which means that the other players now have pre-assigned depots that they have to pick from. 2 more negatives with this lazy CYAN. First off, I cannot store this box on the shelf vertically, as I do with all of my games. And secondly, it can take some time for the commander to make their choice, and everyone is just waiting for this one person to do so. Despite the negatives, I really love this lazy CYAN mechanism. First off, it is very fun, it is very functional, but it also scales really well. Your 6-player game will take not much longer than a 2-player game. Once the commander made their choice, all other players do their selection simultaneously. And your choice of tiles has at least 2 dimensions. First off, you care about the shape because you want to fill out the spaces, but secondly, you care about which type of terrain is that, and there are 6 of them in the game. We have Civ, civilization, biomass, tech, technology, rover, water, and energy. Every time you take a new tile, you will make 2 upgrades to your resource tracker depending on what your choice was. The resource tracker is very fun. It is the engine for your game. There are 5 different tracks, and the first one is Civ civilization, which can give you access to 4 levels of Civ cards. Each of these cards can give you either victory points or some additional resources. The water tracker is mostly about victory points. If you reach all the way to the top, you can get 10 victory points, which is double of all other tracks. However, there is a catch. Anytime you want to place a water tile, you have to put it on the ice area in order to progress on this tracker. This adds another layer of complexity to your puzzle. And if you want to go even further, on each of the player boards there is a reverse side, more advanced side, which gives you additional challenges in this space. Biomass resource is very cool. It can give you access to up to 5 single square tiles. They are essential if you want to plug holes in your design and maximize the points. Just for fun, here's my achievement where I was able to cover every single square on my planet, but I wouldn't have done this without the biomass tokens. The rover track is extremely important. Remember, you are working in a very hostile environment. Many tiles that you'll be picking up will have this meteorite icon, which means that anytime you put this tile on your board, you have to put meteorite on top. And if that meteorite stays for the rest of the game, at the end you will score 0 for this column and for this row. So it is essential to get rid of those meteorites. That's where rover comes handy. This tracker allows you to move this rover over your board and to collect those meteorites that are trying to screw up your points. If you don't have much of progress on the rover track, anytime you pick a new tile, you'll have to look for ones without the meteorite, which greatly limits your options. And finally, the technology track, which can give you access to up to 5 different level ups that are very useful for a game. Unfortunately, they can become repetitive and you can get bored of them. Luckily, each player board has a reverse side with more advanced technologies, so you can play those once you get tired of those. There is one more mechanism that I really like, which helps to make each game feel different. For each pair of players, there will be an objective card that they are competing over. So let's say I have those two cards. So I need to collect more of the meteorites than the player on the left from me, and I need to build more of biomass resources on the edge of the planet compared to the player on the right from me. If I complete both, I can score 5 points for each, which is very significant for this game. So here we are. Planet Unknown offers a lot of very cool mechanisms that I really love. If you like Polyomino games, I highly recommend Planet Unknown. If you don't like Polyomino games, like myself, I still recommend that you try this game because it is very fun. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.